The world's most durable smartphone is incredibly weird in more ways than one. This video is sponsored by Stamps.com, but more on them later. This guy is aptly named the Armor 24 and comes with its own tempered glass screen protector in the box, which is nice, and the phone itself, holy cow. Never have I ever seen a smartphone this thick in my entire life. The Ulefone Armor 24 has a 22,000 mAh battery inside. And that's not a typo. 22,000 mAh is 6.5 times more battery juice than what's inside an iPhone 15. So theoretically, you could probably get away with charging this thing just once a week, with the obvious trade-off that it might not fit in your pocket anymore. We also have a 1000 lumen LED light on the backside while maintaining an IP69K water resistance rating. Now, it's not all sunshine and roses though. LEDs, while ultra efficient, do generate heat when they're all smashed together, and there are 510 of these little dudes projecting simultaneously. So apparently it only works within a 30-minute window and needs a significant amount of cool down time before it can perform again. So we'll just have to wait a few more minutes. I waited about 6 minutes, since I'm kind of impatient and the light wasn't even turned on that long before it had to cool down. But even with that short rest, it still won't go into its brightest level. It will, however, stay on medium brightness and go into a strobing mode, as well as flashing an SOS Morse code signal. So far, not bad for $350. The physically weakest point of any smartphone, though, is pretty much always going to be the screen. And in this particular case, the screen does come with a pre-installed temporary plastic screen protector, which I'll have to remove. With that gone, we can see if the actual screen is made from plastic as well, which I would almost prefer on a rugged phone. But as we work our way up through the most scale of hardness, we pass plastic, which would scratch at a level 2 or 3, and start seeing scratches at a level 6 with deeper grooves at a level 7. The Armor 24 has a screen made with Gorilla Glass 5. It's a shame that both HTC and Kyocera stopped making sapphire screen smartphones. That leaves us with only glass as the best thing we have to work with these days. And I'll still always recommend getting a screen protector as a buffer layer, no matter what the screen is made from. Until transparent aluminum makes a debut, of course, but that's a conversation for another day. The front-facing camera is a 16 megapixel little guy, and the earpiece grill is still very much attached to the phone frame and will not be falling out on its own. Now, turning this literal brick over on its side, we find that the edges appear to be aluminum plates screwed onto the body, like an aftermarket overlanding off-road bumper. The side-mounted fingerprint scanning power button sits right below a textured metal volume rocker, and the metal plates wrap around the edge of the phone onto the back panel. The top of the phone has our good friend Mr. Headphone Jack, hello, it's been a while, along with an IR blaster for remote controlling TVs from a distance. Pretty cool feature, with soft abrasion-resistant rubber everywhere. The left side has an accessory port for an endoscope or microscope attachment. Those are the snaky camera-like things that can peer into ventilation shafts or other tight spaces like plumbing or car engines to see what's going on. And of course, there's the lantern button. The watertight SIM card tray holds not just one SIM card, and not just 2 SIM cards, but also a whole micro SD card. But to be fair, you could probably park a Hot Wheels in this thing with room to spare. Making our way down to the bottom, we have our 66-watt USB-C port, which is impressive, don't get me wrong, but at that speed, it still takes over 2 hours to charge up the 22,000 mAh battery. And there's just a whole lot of rubber everywhere. Metal and rubber is what this thing is made from, with a light so bright I can't even see what I'm doing on the back. Even the carbon fiber looking part is rubberized. The 510 LED beacon is covered in a hard translucent plastic with a metal border surrounding the camera units. Now, the cameras are interesting. On the upper right side, we have a normal 64 megapixel camera, but on the left side, we have an infrared night vision camera. Both perched right above 2 infrared LEDs and a separate camera flash that isn't associated with the lantern on the back. The night vision camera is pretty nifty. Switching to that lens, the image turns black and white, and if I turn off the light on my desktop, my main camera that I filmed this video with can't see anything on my desk whatsoever. But the infrared camera on the Armor 24 is using its humanly invisible infrared LEDs and a special sensor to visually display the night vision image on the screen, so I can take decent pictures in the dark with no lights. I can't think of when I would need to use this, unless I was running special ops in Wakanda or something. Taking my lighter to the 120Hz 1080p screen reveals that it starts to turn black after about 10 seconds. This shows us that the pixels are an IPS LCD and not an OLED. The pixels do mostly recover after the heat is removed, which is nice. When it comes to the bend test though, it comes to nobody's surprise that a smartphone with screwed-on metal side rails and a body thick enough to be a doorstop or tire chock does not bend, flex, creak, or snap in any way, shape, or form. This Armor 24 is the strongest smartphone I've ever tested. Now, I mentioned a little something about an IP69K water resistance rating, which is also something we have never seen before, and we're going to see what that's all about from the inside. There are 4 T4 screws holding on each of the side bumpers next to that accessory port. Having visible screws sure helps save a lot of disassembly time. You know what else saves a lot of time? Today's sponsor, Stamps.com. Stamps.com is your 24/7 online post office that takes care of mailing and shipping wherever you are, even on the go at Stamps.com. Super convenient that the website is also the name of the company. Kind of brilliant, actually. At Stamps.com, you can get rates not found anywhere else, like up to 89% off USPS and UPS, all while never standing in line or driving to the post office. Lately, I've been shipping out our 2024 fundraising collector's coins for my off-road wheelchair project, and we ship them in these sweet little recycled paper mailers, where even the inside padding of the mailer is made from shredded paper. And all you need to start shipping for your side project or business is a computer and a printer. Stamps.com will even send you a free scale. If you want to free up more of your own personal time and spend less time shipping, head to Stamps.com/JerryRig for a 4-week trial, free postage, and free digital scale. Stamps.com/JerryRig. It was around here that I realized the visible screws on the exterior panels ended, and while that makes the side rails super easy to swap, there is no other way to enter inside the phone. This is probably one of the downsides of the superior IP69K water resistance rating. The 69K doesn't supersede the IP68. They are ratings used in conjunction, side by side. The 69K means that we've maintained the submerging rate of the IP68, but adds the ability to be blasted at close range with high pressure, high temperature water jets. Cause who doesn't get into freak high temperature water jet fights? So calling on my decades worth of experience taking apart smartphones, it's time to enter in through the screen, where surprisingly the heat from my gun roasts the IPS display even more than my lighter did. And even then the IP69K glue does not separate. There is no repairability of the Armor 24 without ruining the screen. But wow, does it go out with flying colors. With the fireworks finished, the screen lifts away from the beefy aluminum midframe, which has 15 regular Phillips head screws holding it in place. And boy oh boy, the Armor 24 has more aluminum built into its thick structural midframe than the iPhone has in its entire body. I'll unplug the massive 22,000 mAh battery just like a little Lego. This is turning into less of a smartphone and more of a power bank that makes phone calls. Speaking of which, the 66-watt USB-C port can also output 10 watts of power to charge other devices. That's a tad low in my opinion given the battery size, but I'll take what I can get. There's another 8 screws holding down the battery cradle and 5 screws holding down the motherboard. With the motherboard out, we can see quite a lot of regular vibration-resistant packing foam on the back, which shows us that all the thermal dissipation is happening through the large metal midblade, since no heat can exit out the rubber back of the Armor 24, especially with the epically thick grid of plastic and air pockets. These are probably why the 1000 lumen spotlight has a time limit and a long cooldown period. The heat from the LEDs just has nowhere to go. The 22,000 mAh battery comes out next inside an aluminum capsule that looks like it was built by Iron Man himself. The upper grid of plastics can be removed, the cameras are still attached to this piece, and the rear LED pad is very securely and very permanently attached to the back of the phone. There's no removing those LEDs, no matter how much we might want to. As for the infrared lights, they are both here next to the ultra-small coin-style vibrator motor, and it appears that neither the 64-megapixel night vision camera nor the 64-megapixel main camera have optical image stabilization. This is an absolutely wild phone with very interesting features, and I'm looking forward to whatever they come out with next. Thanks a ton for watching. I'll see you around.